Alright guys, can you hear me well? Hope everything is good. Today I want to talk to you about the interfaces and the way how we can create pretty cool, pretty awesome user experience. So let me start. So short information about me. So my name is Kuala. I'm a game and level designer since 2008. I worked for companies like Mobile, it's an American-based company, Drama Directors, which was the in-development small company, so it's not even a company, just a team, so I know how you feel about your staying here. And currently I'm working for the company named King, maybe you heard about that one. Basically I did like 2 board games when I just started, and about 8 mobile games, 5 were released, the rest is just still in development or maybe cancelled, but the 5 of them, you can check it out. And as an indie developer, we published one PC/Mon game on Steam last year, so I'm pretty proud about that. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is heat map or heat zones. It's something when we should think about when we are holding our phone or our smartphone devices, and how exactly we can create this, create the experience from the device to our players, to our users, that they can be, that they can probably have like very easy to use, and at the same time, all the functionalities, all the features can be there and serve the purpose. So you probably noticed when you're using your smartphone, especially the latest one, it becomes bigger and bigger, and the screen becomes like pretty tough to find the best position for your finger, and sometimes you have to stretch your finger. So you can see that how it came from like the old iPhone, like iPhone 4, to the newest, which is iPhone 6 or iPhone 6 Plus or 7, which is at the same screen, the same size. So you can find that the heat zones on the top is actually almost not usable. Like it's really difficult to use it by using one of your hands, or you have to like change the grab and like try to reach the top, which doesn't make it so easy. So just to compare from like iPhone 6 to iPhone 6 Plus, you can notice that the natural position of our finger here is even like smaller than the one on the iPhone 6. That's because the screen size is just like much bigger and it becomes less natural for our finger to reach it. So what we can do about this? There was the pretty interesting test, which was the app that shows us how fast you can reach some certain points on the screen. So you've seen the red box over there. So at least when you tap on it, the app will gonna register how much time did you use for that. So according by this program, here's a map. I'm not sure you. I think it's fine. Okay. So the red marks shows in milliseconds like how fast you're gonna reach it. Like all the squares here is actually shows like how fast you can reach it. So obviously the center is the fastest area that you can reach, and the one on the top or on the bottom is actually like makes it more difficult, especially on the corners. So if you design your app or mobile game by using these specifications, you should consider that some parts of it is not so easy to reach, and it's better to avoid this kind of things if you want to put some like buttons there, and it's better to keep some like useful information. So, for example, like this kind of games, all the interactive buttons or interactive interfaces that you can have or you can use is here on the center of the screen or slightly on the bottom, while the all useful information that's like currency or whatever you want to add in the game, it's on the top. So you probably will never like raise your finger there to touch it, so you can keep your information over there. Yeah, and of course you can consider that sometimes if you want to have more gameplay on the top, the user can like grab the device a little bit like higher. But in this case, you'll see that we have this O area on opposite side, so it's always some plus and minus. So consider this every time when you make your new user interfaces. Of course, if you use landscape mode comparing to portrait, it's going to be different. Or if you use like both fingers or both hands. So that's another part of the hit zone that you should think about as well. Okay, now a little bit more closer to interfaces or UI. So I'm going to tell a little bit of like theory here. Maybe it might be like too complex, but I hope you guys can manage it. So we have two types of UI. One's called diegetic and another called non-diegetic. Sorry, it's a really difficult word. And you probably ask me what's the difference and what the hell is this diegetic and non-diegetic interfaces. So it's actually pretty easy to understand. The first one, which is diegetic interfaces, is everything that exists in the game world. So whatever you create, there's something that exists in the world, and the player and the character that you like control, whatever, can see these things as well as the user. And non-diegetic interfaces, it's actually everything else that can show us as a player's additional information, like progress bars, additional like currency information, anything else. It's basically just a layer in between you as a player and the game. So like my character from World of Warcraft cannot see all these kind of things, but I, as a user, as a player, I can definitely see like everything that I need, or even like more, by this additional layer. And this interface is called non-diegetic. Everything that exists in the world is called diegetic. So why I told you all about this, all these kind of things. So just a couple of more examples. So as a character and as a player, I exist in this world, and I can definitely see, okay, here's my navigator, here's my mirrors, and here's my wheel control. So I can see and I can affect all these kind of things as a player and as a character, and they exist in this world. So this is an example of diegetic interface. Another good example is the dead space, and this is actually pretty unique because everything that you see in the game, your character can see as well. So it's pretty interesting how they make the HP bar here that actually shows you the spine of this suit, and as well as you interact with some of the control panels or anything else, you can actually see like some kind of pop-ups as well as your character. Like what exactly is it? Is it like I don't know, some item which is useful, or is it diary, or even if you have some like ammo in your gun or whatever, your character and you as a player can see these things as well. Now comes to non-diegetic interfaces, which is pretty easy and quite old already. So everything that I already mentioned, like in between, so this is like additional layer. Mario probably will never see these kind of things. And the guy from the Doom, never seen these kind of things, only the monsters and probably his gun. But you as a player can definitely see all the information here, and as a player can use this to beat the game, to beat the monsters. Now I would like to give you some tests, because I don't want you to get tired from my speech. So this is the Deus Ex Human Revolution. Can you tell me what kind of interface is that? Any ideas? Non or? Okay, let's write the test if you think that this is non-diegetic interface. You are wrong. This was the mark question. So the thing is that Adam Jensen, as a character of this game, he actually has these implants in his head that shows all this information exactly with his eyes. So this is actually his diegetic interface just for this game. If you take the same kind of UI and put it into another game just because we wanted, it's going to be non-diegetic interface. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about user experience. So what is user experience or UX? So you have some kind of like content in your game, no matter what, pictures, music, anything. And you probably have a tool, which is like user interface, that you can use to access this content. And of course, the end result that the user is going to have is the experience, which is called user experience or UX for short. It's quite important to know that UX is not UI. I repeat, UX is not UI. So if you just compare these two lists, well, it's better to see, but actually it's almost the same, but it's great. Anyway, UI is just these two things, while UX is much more. So when someone asks you about how's UX in your game, don't be confused with UI. So user interface is about how the product looks and the tool that you can use to get access to the content. And UX is about how your game works and feels. So think about it. The great user experience is usually invisible. It's something that easy to learn. It's like very minimalistic controls, and like there's nothing confusing or distracting. For example, the game that called Monument Valley is like pretty minimalistic UI. At the same time, you can like easy to understand like what's going on, even if it's actually quite complex game. So just remember what was your favorite game like all the times. You probably will see that UI there or UX is like pretty invisible, or you can just like barely notice it. So as I mentioned before, the best games has like almost no UI or like UX, which is like super like transparent, and you will never like consider it as a player. Only as a developer, you probably can track all these kind of things. So that's why we come from here, from the top, which is like invisible UI or like not no UI. It's the best thing. Then we can go to the good UI, good UX, and now we come to this kind of things, which is pretty interesting. So notice that bad UI is better than good UI, but we have good UX. Now I'm going to tell you why. So good UX is better than good UI. Just imagine you have this pretty interesting chair, but even compared to this chair, the UX is going to be here awful. I probably will not see on this chair, never. So yeah, always think about usability, because usability comes first, and only after you can think about the art, you can think about everything else. Another good example, this is a calculator. This is a calculator as well, but which one are you going to use? The one which is pretty beautiful with a lot of art things, or the one which has good usability and you can definitely understand what's going on there? Okay, so now we come to how to create a positive user experience. Think about it as a horse rider. Imagine you as a player, or as a horse rider, have a horse, and the horse is our game or our app. And what we should think about is it pleasant to ride on this horse? And dust controls are really good, and we can feel the horse and make sure that it rides pretty fast, and we can reach our destination. That's how it comes to this functionality. And that's the best benchmark that you can use about when you're developing a new game or a new app. What else we can do for that? We can try to change the the standard things like game objective. This is a very good example from Splinter Cell Conviction. So you play as a spy, and usually you have like this giant list of wall of text that says like kill this president or save this president, or I don't know, this is the VIP guest, eliminate him or save him or whatever. And this is pretty easy to understand why, because there's a mention. It said infinite dimension. No need to have the plane of text, right? No need to have these giant objectives. What else we can use? We can use informative loading screens. Let's say your app or your game takes some time to load, right? So you can use this time not just to show some like fancy animation, but you can just tell the story, tell some rules, if some game has additional rules, not just like your core gameplay. Or you can combine both of these things and tell a little bit of story and give some like a good tip for this specific mission or for game in general. What else can be interesting? It's like unusual controls. This is the game called Elite Dangerous. And this actually is a pretty cool game in terms of like UI. Because this is your main screen. And this is the part when you can find some new environment that you want to visit or interact with other players or other characters. And this is your like log information and everything else. But this is just your screen. This is one screen that you can just turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right, and everything you feel is like a control panel. So you can see all these kind of things, and they merge into this world. You can actually like feel like this is a part of this world. And that's why it makes this game easy to understand, even if it's so complex. What else we have? We have immersive database. This is Fallout 4. So this is pretty cool because you have this keyboard on your head and you can get access to everything that you need just by like taking it up and see what's going on with your character, what's going on with your quests, maps, everything, just by like taking it closer to your head. So this is another example how you can create this kind of UI without all this boring screens with a lot of information that's overloaded just by using this metaphor for database. You can even create immersive interfaces. This is one of my favorite games called Braid. So in this game, there is almost no UI as we get used to. This is like, to select the chapter or to select the level you want, you just hit the room or the door, and then you can actually access to any level you want, as well as you can read the story just from these books, which creates a pretty awesome experience. You feel like you are the part of this world. Or you can like remove all interfaces at all. Like this is another perfect example, like the game Journey, which is one of my favorite games as well. There's just slightly part of interface in the beginning when it explains you how to control and like start the game or exit the game. That's it. The rest of the game is pure interactive with the environment, with this world. This is another good example of diegetic interfaces when everything that you need is exactly this world. Everything like from the character or everything from the environment. So you're probably gonna ask me like, well, it's so cool you show so many games, but we are like probably working on mobile games here. What about mobile games? So I have a couple of examples from mobile games, of course. So Kazero, one of the good examples of that, which is pretty awesome controls and very natural because it's just a finger. And everything you need is just make a swipe, and then you can have interactions or just a simple tap. And they use another great example of diegetic interfaces when the character, has this metaphor of boxes. So whatever level you use or whatever level you want to access, you just open the box and you see like all this environment, and you can interact with all these puzzles, and you can go to one level, from one level to another, and just interact with by using one finger. It's pretty easy, right? One more example is a hit and go. So they use box metaphor as well. So, but this is like a board game, so you actually can get access to any level by open the box, just like an episode. And then you have like additional levels there, like small figures. And then you can actually like just go from one point to another, reach your objective, or 2-minute target. It's actually a pretty good example how you can save the amount of time and money for animation, because you don't have to animate all these characters. So yeah, it's pretty easy. You don't have to have the skeleton animation here. Man, it's so many box metaphors, but anyway. Another good example is Hearthstone, which combines two types of interfaces. So it's kind of makes it's diegetic because of the box, because of the card, and non-diegetic because of the additional numbers that we can see in the game to show us some more information about the game. So yeah, this game is a pretty good example of how you can use the metaphor of the box or anything else you want to create this pretty fluid experience from one point to another, from start of the game to the end of the game, or whatever, end of the match. And it's still going to feel like real, because you can interact with these cards, you can interact with part of the UI, you can even interact with the environment, which is pretty awesome. One more example is Plants vs. Zombie 2. So they actually have this idea of different worlds, quite similar to non-diegetic. So, for example, you want to pick one of these worlds, and you pick like part 1, and then you can see like the world is zoomed in, and you can see that the whole thing's here. And you can select the level, and still the same flavor. It's the same kind of like entire thing. So you can actually like really understand what exactly you're playing. Like, because in other worlds it can be different. It's not just about the UI, but it's about the art style as well. Because this like how panel will stay here, even like if you go to the core gameplay. So this is how you can transit from just the selection of the level to the gameplay. Okay, so a bit of conclusion here. So whenever you work on the game, think about hit zones and what you can achieve by putting some parts of your interfaces on your screen. It's very good to know what kind of interface you want to create, diegetic or non-diegetic, and why. Because will it serve the purpose? Will it gonna help users to understand the game? Or you just want to like have a memorable like kind of game that everyone can access. And of course, usability and functionality is more important than just a beautiful picture. Remember that calculator? I hope you guys will not create anything like that. Think about functionality first. And remember, you as a player or as a horse rider, always think about like how pleasant is it, what the functionality, and is it easy to control. And yeah, create a unique user interface if you can. It's just makes one of these games that I just mentioned as another example, and someone else can have a session and talk about your game as a pretty memorable, because I remember that. Yeah, I guess that's all for now, so if you guys have any questions.